Hello, and welcome to the Strategic Alignment Podcast. This program is all about providing leaders and managers with meaningful insights on how to optimize business results by aligning their people strategy to their business strategy. Our goal is to support you as you rise to the challenges of complex decision-making centered around attracting and retaining top talent.
We're live. Hi, good evening, everyone. How's it going? I hope everyone is doing well this evening. On behalf of Pottinger and Associates Consulting, we want to welcome you to another episode of the Strategic Alignment Podcast. I hope I am coming through clear. We had some technical glitches earlier, and that's why it took us so long to get on. But we prayed, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure who's joining us. I see that a few people are coming on. If you could just go ahead and just put it in the comment section where you're joining us from, we'll be able to just go ahead and give you a shout out. So until you do that, we're going to go ahead and keep talking. Jaymie, it's been a minute since
it's been
we've gotten together.
It's been a while. We've had a few sessions, but we haven't been able to come together on the set. So I'm excited. And a lot of new and good things coming, and we're just wearing. I know we only have like 20 minutes this evening. It's Christmas season. I know the girls are waiting for us to do something special with that. So we just want to jump right into it, Chauna. So if you want to go ahead and let's dive into it. And I think you have some rather interesting questions for me tonight.
Please, it's a conversation at best. It is a conversation. You have a few new projects coming up. I wanted to tell the people what those are. I know you're very excited about one in particular, so you can go ahead and share about that right now, and then we'll just get into the questions.
So what I'll say though is that I know that we've been getting some good reviews on the Face of Leadership. That's the first thing. So starting tomorrow, we'll be having some discounts going for the Face of Leadership. So you could grab yourself a copy on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. If you want to get a ebook, you could get that also.
Kindle,
you get the Kindle version. So please look out for it. And I have Sherlyn Leon who will be joining me, a good friend of mine. We'll be doing maybe a 16-part series on the Face of Leadership. So we'll be having almost like a mastermind on the Face of Leadership. So we want everybody grab yourself a copy of the book, and you're going to hear all the stories behind how do you face failure and all the things that comes with it, and also in a position to execute with confidence, execute with clarity, and not just that, but also having the sense of awareness in terms of what you do. So we're excited about that project. Sherlyn Leon, a good friend of mine, and he's good with conversation.
Yeah, he's also one of the consultants with Pottinger and Associates Consulting. So we're actually very excited about that series that's coming up, and we're looking forward to having you guys on when they're doing that project. I really believe that there is just so much that's untapped in terms of the content within the Face of Leadership, because it really is a book of substance. I have to say that you have pretty much touched on every single talking point that's out there on leadership.
So when it comes down to leadership, and wherever you are at this point, just like to share this with you, because sometimes we become confused when it comes down to leadership, and we're looking for persons who look a certain way. No matter where you are in your life or whatever capacity you're serving in, just be reminded that you are a leader. Because leadership is really leading up, leading down, leading across, and most importantly, leading yourself. So as you're looking to close out this year and you're looking forward to the new year, as a leader of your flock, as a coach, whatever you're doing, just remember that you have to take control of where you're heading and secure the support and the expertise of others as you chart your path and going into a new year in uncharted territory. So, leadership, the Face of Leadership is something that you need to have as a leader, and something that you can certainly share with your friends, your colleagues, and if you're leading in certain capacities, you could help to empower your people so that they're ready for next year, not just ready for the opportunities, but more so ready for the challenges. Because most times we know our sweet spot.
I love it.
What we have problems with are the areas that are blind spots. And I know you have a question about.
Come on, don't get too much into the content now, because we have a conversation to have later about that.
And that's the reason I'm pushing her to start the conversation, and she's just stretching it out. So I'm gonna shut my mouth up until she gives me some marching orders. Is that okay, guys? I know I have some support out there.
Hey, I see Sasha is on and somebody by the name of Rastard is on. Welcome, guys, and we're happy that you're here. What we want you to do is to go ahead and share this link with somebody, someone that you know will benefit from this conversation, because it promises to be good. You know, Jaymie, one of the things that I absolutely enjoy about what we do, really, is how we're able to provide insights and information to leaders, managers, teams, and just to watch the transformation that takes place. And a lot of organizations right now are looking to find that secret code, to unlock that code that will help them to be able to bring about the right kind of transformation within their organization, to bring about the right kind of transformation within their culture. What I want you to help us to do is to identify what this is, because I know that we're talking about something today that's, you know, something that right up your alley. You are an expert on personal development. You are an expert on leadership development, and you're also an expert on team development. And so we'll be touching all three of those this evening. But I wanted you to share with us, Jaymie, just briefly, what is that secret sauce, that secret code that leaders need to be made aware of?
So I think as you say, Sean, as you said, Shauna, is that the only way that you can grow is by recognizing where you are. And sometimes you're not in a position to see where you are based on how deep you are into yourself or what you're doing, because sometimes you get so covered in getting into where you're trying to get, whereby you miss out on a lot of things that are happening. You think about a driver who may be having some problems on his car and he's trying to fix it while driving. Chances are he may end up in with an accident. So he need passengers or people who are willing, or a co-driver or whatever, to share with him that I know that you really want to take us to where you're trying to get us, and I know that you enjoy what you're doing, but here are some areas that we need to look out for if we want to make it to that destination safely. Right. And people refer to that as feedback. And another writer said, I can't remember his name, but he says feed forward, because feedback is really what takes you from where you are to the next position, but it has a lot to do with how do you view it. So are we ready for some feed forward conversation at this point? I know you wanted to feed forward, but I had to drop that there, because, and the reason I'm saying that is if when we hear the word feedback, we think about somebody holding us back. When we think about feedback, most times we think about the negative side. Why is she always saying that? Why can't she celebrate who I am? Why is it that he's always finding out what am I not doing correct? But the question that you have to ask yourself is that what I'm doing currently, is that aligned with the purpose or the goals that I have? And my mantra is, once I'm heading in a given direction, anything that's taking me off course, whoever or whatever it is that can help me to stay on course to get to that goal, I'm welcoming that thing. So that's the reason why I've totally submitted myself to the word feed forward as opposed to feedback, because I want to take away that negative sting from it, because it's about how do you take yourself from where you are to the next position, and how do you get out of your own way or allow somebody to help to take that veil from your face to get you to that place where you can win.
I love it. I love where you're going with this conversation, because you've changed it up a little bit, and I appreciate the reasoning behind that. Feedback and leaders getting into that feedback loop. You've touched on something just now, and I want you to expand that a little bit, because there may be some confusion between criticism and feedback. Is there a difference between the two? And as you know, criticism does come with a stigma, a very negative stigma, you know, because most times when we think about stigma, about criticism, we think of it in a negative light. I'm being criticized for my work and so on and so forth. So if you could just differentiate for me, what is the difference between criticism and feedback, and how can a leader benefit from both, if not, find a way to decipher between the two?
So what I'll say, Shauna, is that it has a lot to do with your mindset. And people may say, no, Jaymie, it's not correct. It has a lot to do with your mindset. You know, as a leader, and when I say leader, wherever you are, whether you're in a relationship, whatever you're doing at this point, when it comes down to criticism, it has a lot to do with where you're heading. Now, some persons are not trained with the right tools in terms of how to dish it out to you. And there's some people who are looking for opportunities to highlight your weak areas. My question is that if they, whether they like you or not, and they're highlighting something that's preventing you from getting to your touchdown zone, then it's something that you need to add to your arsenal in terms of moving forward. What I'm saying here is that it's not that you should celebrate somebody who's being nasty and mean to you, but in every pound of nonsense, there's an ounce of sense. So as somebody who's looking to be successful, somebody who's looking to win, somebody who's looking to have a lasting impact, it may be hard for you to swallow what you're hearing. But if what you're hearing adds value to where you're going, I'm gonna repeat that. If what you're hearing adds value to where you're going, then it's an opportunity for you to grow there. If you recognize I didn't say go there, because if I say go there, it may mean that you need to take that person on. Now you're not taking that person. What you're taking on is what they're sharing. And if what they're sharing is taking you there, then it's something that you need to grow with. Now, that person may never ever become a bosom buddy of yours. You may never ever play marbles with that person. But what they have shared is something that you take back to your shop, and you look at yourself and you ask yourself the question, what I just heard here, is it adding value to where I'm going, or is it something that I should take personal? And you may say, you know what, I need to take it personal based on what they're sharing. But even though I need to take it personal, there's still something of value that I can use to take me further. And as you said earlier, Chauna, when you do that now, you are now focusing on where you're going, and you're not focusing on who's sharing it with you. Because sometimes the reason why we do that is because we start focusing on the person who's sharing it and not what is being shared. And then we add feelings and emotions to it. Put it this way. Let's put it simple here. If you said something to me in a language that I can't understand, I may just say, I can't understand her, even though she's saying something nasty. So it has everything to do with what I gather from what you've shared. So if I gather from you that, you know what, I don't like her tone, but what she's saying is right. I have not managed to balance my time effectively. I'm not turning up to work on time. I'm not, then if I do that, then I will be able to be in a position where I can win, even though I don't like the vessel or the approach that is being used to correct my path.
I love that. I love that. And what I'm hearing you to say is that as a person, whether I'm in the space of an individual contributor, I work on a team, or it's just a tough manager that I'm dealing with, or I could be a leader too, right? It's important for me to not just rush to judgment and take things personally, but we should find ways of filtering the information through the lens of, does the feedback align with goals that I currently have, and can it help me? So I really appreciate that. Now, would you say, Jaymie, that there are blockers to the way in which feedback is ascertained and the effectiveness of that feedback? Do you think that there are things that personally I can be doing that's preventing someone from giving me feedback? Are there blockers to feedback?
First, you have to think about your position. As a leader, or whether you're leading a relationship, you're coaching, you're leading your own business, your overall disposition may serve to make it difficult for others to share with you their honest opinion. Because how you receive and how you respond to feedback may prevent people from sharing what's really happening. And then what may happen is that you may end up like that king who thought that they were dressed up when they were really naked. Because your overall disposition may serve to be either welcoming for feedback, or it may serve as a deterrent. Now, the question that you ask yourself is that when you're in a certain position, when you have certain authority, or you have a position of prestige, and one that you have a lot of persons who are reporting to you, you have to be very mindful of how you carry yourself. Now, if you're not in a high position, then people find it easy to give you feedback. But the higher you are, persons are leery whether or not they need to do that. Because when it comes on to giving feedback, it takes people, because some persons are not confrontational. And if a person is not fully invested in where you're going, then they're not that invested to share with you something that could take you there much faster.
I think you're just dropping a whole ton load of nuggets right there. Can you just pause for a minute? Let's take a breather. The point you just made is such an important point. I don't want us to lose that. The feedback that's coming, the person who is giving you the feedback, first of all, you have to be able to see it as an act of love, because if you don't, then it's going to be easy for you to just dismiss it. But the person who's given the feedback also should consider it to be an act of love, to share that with you. And if the overall demeanor that you display while you're on the job is one that repulses that, then it then gives legitimacy to that person saying, um it's not my business, let her go ahead and just do what she wants to do. And that takes me to the next point, because we saw in the book that you shared a very interesting analogy about the front of your t-shirt, the back of your t-shirt. Can you share with us what that is and how one can benefit from that information? Because that all comes into the context of feedback. Why is it that it matters for me to know what's on the back of my t-shirt? What's on the front of my t-shirt?
I'll put it like this, baby. You made mention an act of love, and for those who are not into the lovey-dovey mindset, I'll refer to the act of growth.
Right.
So while I may not accept what you're giving, I accept where it can take me. So when you look at it this way, if you think about it this way, if I choose not to act on the feedback that is given, it will take me back. If I choose to act on the feedback that I'm given, it will take me forward. So feedback is an act of growth. So you could choose to stunt your growth based on how you respond to feedback, or you could choose to advance yourself to a higher level. And not only that, but by doing that, you also secure more supporters.
Right.
Because if I affirm the person who is giving me feedback, then they consider it an open door policy to share with me where I'm at.
Thank you for the feedback.
But if I choose not to affirm the feedback, even though I'm taking, because nothing is wrong with taking it personally, but everything is wrong when you don't take it forward. So I can take it personally because I'm a human being.
Right.
But if I'm not taking it forward, then that's where the problem is. So as we jump further, I'd like to share now, as you made mention, the front and the back of your t-shirt. You see, many of us, we take a F game to a workforce or to a team, but we expect A-like results or feedback. Now when you think t-shirt, the front of your t-shirt is what gets you in the door. Your front of your t-shirt, what people talks about. The front of your t-shirt, what people celebrate. That's what you know about yourself. As soon as somebody asks you, what's your name, Chauna? You reel off your resume and everything that you've done. That's the front of your t-shirt. Now, what's on the back of your t-shirt is the thing that you can't see. What's on the back of your t-shirt, what keeps you out of the team? What's on the back of your t-shirt, what gets you fired? What's on the back of your t-shirt, why your evaluation is low? What's on the back of your t-shirt, why when you walk over to the table and they were talking, they switch the conversation? What's on the back of the t-shirt is why you're not at the parties that you're why you're not invited to the party. So the back of your t-shirt. Now you recognize, because that's the back of your t-shirt. That's something that you can't see.
Right.
So it means then that you need others to share that with you.
Right.
Now, the problem with that is that you are not in a position to dictate how people share with you what's on the back of your t-shirt. Because sometimes what's on the back of your t-shirt serves as an empowering tool for those who really want salt in the wound for you. But as you think about that and you introduce it initially, 3 things that we have to think about when it comes on to feedback. It has to do with our personal development, our leadership development, and our team development. Because when you think about that, the only way that you can grow and deal with the kinks that you have, or get rid of whatever is preventing you from getting to that place, is by accepting feedback. And personally, when you accept the feedback that you're getting, that allows you to be in a stronger position as you trot along that path, achieving your goals or whatever you're engaged with.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, one of the things that we do here at Pottinger and Associates Consulting, which I absolutely love, is we help to equip our clients with tools that can help them to solicit this feedback from objective source, and in some cases not so objective, because we have a diagnose tool. And pretty much I want you to share with them the framework that we use, and we can talk about that a little bit. The framework that we use for diagnose, it centers around measuring, analyzing, and then prescribing, which is technically, if you want to put it that way, it's a feedback loop. From a leadership perspective, how do you see that kind of approach or in your experience, based on you working with leaders and helping them to unlock some of these insights, how have you seen that this kind of insight makes a difference in terms of feedback? And tell us a little bit more about that framework and how it works.
So, you let's put it this way: you cannot effectively manage that which you fail to measure.
Say that again.
You cannot,
slowly.
You cannot effectively manage that which you fail to measure.
So if you don't measure it,
you can't manage it effectively.
You can't manage it.
And the thing about it too, the reason why scientific tools like that which we use here at Pottingers and Associates, whether we're using the predictive index or the DISC, is such an important piece, is because you're always having new people joining your team, and not all of us have the gift of foresight or have the genie bottle to tell exactly what's happening. And sometimes you have people who have the right resume, they have the right look based on your biases, and you believe that you have just made the right catch,
the right hire,
or the right hire. And not until you're within 3 weeks of working with that person, you recognize that you don't have the right information to give them the feedback that is needed to push them forward.
A great disappointment.
And right there, you no longer have the autonomy nor the latitude to win with that person. And that person is frustrated, and you're frustrated, because once you're serving a leading capacity, people are expected to be fed by you as a leader, and you're expecting to receive from them in terms of moving the organization and moving that person forward. So at Pottingers and Associate, this tool helps leaders, it helps organization, and it helps teams to identify the strengths and the weaknesses that they possess as a team, that they possess individually, and where some of the roadblocks and the clashes are. It also helps you to find out exactly who are the right people that you need in the room.
Right.
Because not because you have the right people mean that you have the right people in the right position,
seats.
the right seat.
Right.
And how to deal with that. And that now allows you to have unbiased feedback. Because sometimes when you're leading in certain positions or you're operating in certain teams, it's easy for persons to think that you're picking on them,
right.
or but it's very important as a leader for you to share with them where they are and what are your business strategies and where you're looking to take the team. You have to say that.
Right.
Now, the question is, how do you say that to them while still securing their support and their loyalty and getting the job done? One of the best ways to go about that is to use a scientific tool, or to use a team like Pottingers and Associates, where we come in and we work with your team, and we're giving them a survey. They're the ones completing it.
Yep.
And what they have
Given
completed, the feedback that they have given is the feedback that is used to measure where they are.
Right.
And now that is used to assess the team. So nobody's thinking that you're handpicking them to paint them in the ugly corner. But that information, and we have seen exceptional growth and results from people and teams and breakthroughs and heightened and increased results from using a scientific tool and using some of the services that we offer to help teams to navigate where they're going.
Excellent. And I particularly wanted to point out that diagnose tool that we use, because really what it does is that it allows leadership to keep their ear on the ground. You want to know what's going on. And sometimes when you collect this information in an anonymous setting, where they're sharing feedback about what they think about the culture, they're sharing feedback about what they think about your leadership, they're sharing feedback about the manager that they're working with. This tool helps you to take action on those things, because the truth is, when you're leading without being in that feedback loop, where you're not part of the conversation, it's happening in the hallways.
It's still happening.
It's happening in the parking lots. It's happening at the barbecues when they have dinner. And some of the most valuable insights are shared about the direction where the organization is going. And how things are going in terms of leadership and the strategies that are being used. And that's feedback that you could use in the boardroom to make decisions that can help you along your path. So I do see where that has been helpful for us. Jaymie, we're coming up on a time milestone here. So it's time for us to start wrapping it up. So I think we probably need to come back again and have a conversation.
So what I'll share with our listeners is that we'll be on our lives for most of next week.
Mhm.
So, and we'll be sharing some nuggets and maybe even having some giveaways. But I'd like to share, before we go, that please jump onto Amazon, grab yourself a copy of The Face of Leadership.
Yes.
And we'll be having a 16-part series with Sherlon Leon as we talk about the face of leadership moving forward. And in case you need further feedback in terms of where you are, don't hesitate to reach out to us at Pottingers and Associates Consulting.com. And please follow us on Instagram and
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes.
and,
Yes.
our
We are all
YouTube
over
channels.
Facebook.
And we are here to help you to have a better year. And what better way to start your new year than to start it in December? And we'll be sharing a lot of nuggets as we move forward, because we're committed to the team and we're committed to where you can take yourself and your team in terms of moving forward. And you could join us for a podcast on Sundays. Sunday prep. Where we say quitters bounce, but winners bounce back
and follow through.
So thank you very much, Shauna, baby, my wife, for joining us tonight. And we
it's been a pleasure. I enjoyed this conversation.
conversation.
We'll be having some more. So please be out next week and join us as we continue the discussion. Today we touched on the personal development aspect of feedback, and then next week we'll talk about the leadership development, and we also may touch on the aspects that deals with team development and how that feedback will be helpful and what it looks like from a team perspective. But we want to thank you so much for joining us today for this podcast, inviting you to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can be in the know when things are happening with Pottinger and Associates Consulting. Guys, we have so much great news to share. I mean, it's just not enough for us to use that all in one segment, but we have some new promos that will be coming up at the beginning of the year, as Jaymie mentioned, and we want you to be a part of that and to benefit from that as well. So we're looking forward to seeing you next week. Listen, guys, we're out.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Strategic Alignment Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe to our podcast by visiting our website at www.pottingerandassociatesconsulting.com.